Hi, Ram Fam. This is Faculty Spotlight. I'm your host, Cynthia Murillo, and with me is a very special guest, Dean Andrew Tiger. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you're a very busy man, so I really appreciate this.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
As I told you, I have so many questions for you. You are a very interesting man. I know we're not going to get through all of them today, but that's okay. We're just going to see
I'm
where
hoping
this...
my wife is listening. This sounds really good. I'm looking forward to it.
So, what's your wife's name? Give her a shout out, just in case she
my
is.
my wife is Sue Tiger. She's a tailor. She runs an Etsy shop. So that's my retirement when she's just going to keep doing her Etsy stuff.
Yay! How long have y'all been married?
We've been married. Ooh, you put me on the spot there. Since '98. So
Oh, nice.
I'll let you do the math of what that would be. We're not quite 26, 27 years, something like that.
Wow. Awesome. That is so cool. What's your, I guess, best marriage advice that you have for the students out there that are barely looking for that significant other?
We first of all, we didn't get married early. Mm-hmm. Neither one of us. So we were married in our late 20s. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of that. It has helped a lot in terms of financial planning,
yes,
family planning.
Yes.
I was generally the old coach when we would have sports teams, and you had all of the coaches. I was the older one, so I was there. That's fine with that. We went through a marriage counseling prior. Found out there was a lot of things that we had to discuss right then that was very useful, and
yes.
So we have good conversations. So we enjoy being around each other. We don't necessarily have the same hobbies, but we're empty nesters, so
yeah.
we spend a lot of time with each other and can have plenty of talks throughout the day.
That's awesome. I did some premarital counseling before we got married. That was very helpful. So yes, for anyone thinking about marriage, do the premarital counseling.
Yes.
I have two at home. I have two that moved out, so I'm kind of in that transitional stage. I was so excited, and then one came back. So I'm like, man.
No? Well, I haven't had that happen yet. My wife just returned from Florida. My oldest daughter went to the Naval Academy. She's a naval officer.
Wow.
And she's been on her first tour up and down in the Caribbean and then into the South Pacific on her ship. And so she's been at sea or on tour for 8 months, and she just came back this week. So my wife went and met her as they came off. So very cool that she's back on land. Good for Dad that she's no longer on a ship.
Yes, that's so cool. So tell us, what is it that you do here at ASU? What's your job title and what do you do here?
I'm the Dean of the Norris-Vincent College of Business. The Norris-Vincent College of Business has 2 academic departments, management marketing, and accounting, economic, and finance. We also have aerospace studies, which is our ROTC program. Okay. They offer a leadership minor, so they do teach classes. We have the Small Business Development Center within the Norris-Vincent College of Business. And a real cool one, and I'm glad it's there, within our Department of Management Marketing, we also have our commercial aviation program. So even though it's not a business degree,
yes,
it is the rock star of the group. It's a great program. It's blown up. Scott Turner, our director, he's incredible, and we've got almost 200 flyers in the program right now.
Wow. We had one of those students on our live remote yesterday because we do live radio shows where we go out and we speak to the students live. And we actually had an aviation student on the show, and oh my gosh, it sounded so interesting. And she just talked. It was amazing the way she talked about the program and how she really even encouraging everyone, come out, look at it. It's so cool. We got our own space by Mathis, they said now.
We don't own any planes, but we have our own commercial aviation building. We have great partners with Skyline Aviation, who as we grow, they continue to provide us new airplanes, pinstriped with ASU colors. We've got helicopters now.
That's awesome.
We're a regional university. Angelo State is a regional university. We serve the needs. We're well known here. Our aviation program is a national program. It will compete with the largest, the best aviation programs in the country. That's where we are in that.
That is amazing. So tell us, what's your favorite part of your job?
I like being the face of the Norris-Vincent College of Business.
Yes.
And that is with existing students, prospective students and their parents in the community. I mean, I want to be able to be the one that tells the good news about what we're doing. Our programs, our enrollment, our first-year enrollment, so our first-year freshman has increased since COVID, setting records the last 2 years.
Wow.
We've earned initial AACSB accreditation. I've got a strong group of faculty that are scholars and good teachers. They are thought leaders. They add to the body of knowledge by publishing research. It is a lot of good things, and my favorite part is being able to be in positions to tell people about that.
That's awesome. So did you grow up here, or how did you end up at ASU?
Oh, no. I grew up in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I grew up right outside of Tulsa. I'm a first gen. It's pretty cool. After my dad was in the oil field, worked in California, went to college off and on, never earned a degree, but he's your classic lifelong learner. He would go to classes after I graduated school. He would go pick up a class at a local. So he was always thinking and always learning. My mom went back to school after I graduated. Now she's a retired school teacher. But I grew up in Oklahoma, went to the University of Oklahoma, so I'm a Sooner. So hopefully that doesn't get edited out or that. But I did my bachelor's and my master's at the University of Oklahoma in industrial engineering, and did my PhD at the University of Houston in industrial engineering. So all my degrees are industrial engineering.
Okay.
Going to Texas was the first time I lived outside of Oklahoma. After I got my PhD, I had no interest, no desire to teach, join a university. I wanted to work. That's what my dad did. I thought I would work. I joined a company in Minnesota and worked for 3M. So 3M makes Post-its, Scotch tape, a whole bunch of different products. So I got to see all these different cool products, and I was an internal consultant. I helped them design supply chains, manufacturing systems was what I did. So I like to throw math at these types of problems. That's what I did as an engineer. Was in Minnesota for 4 years, 3 winters, however you want to say it. It's very cold. The problem with 3M is that one of those M's is Minnesota, and it's just too cold. It's just too long a winter. So I left there, moved to Houston, worked as a supply chain consultant, had a chance to go out to California and was a winemaker for a little bit, worked for Ernest and Julio Gallo Winery as a supply chain consultant. Again, just throwing math at very interesting supply chain problems. You know, when we produced 1 million bottles a shift, highly automated process. I got to help decide which products to run on which machines throughout for 6 months, and we did everything. We had glass manufacturing, we did labels, and of course we put the juice in the bottle. So it was a full production, just perfect for my type of what I like to do. My youngest child was born in California, so we wanted to move back to close to my parents. Moved back to Oklahoma, and that's when I started teaching. So since 2002, I've taught.
Been teaching. Wow.
Yeah, business schools in Oklahoma, in Tennessee, and I've been here. I'm in my 7th year here.
So is that how you got to ASU? Did you get a teaching job here first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was at both Southeastern Oklahoma State and in Tennessee. I was there when their business schools went through AACSB accreditation, and then when this position, it was a department chair position. Okay. Clifton Jones was the dean at the time. He hired me in as the department chair of management marketing. I knew that Norris-Vincent College of Business was going through AACSB accreditation. I joined as department chair, and then when he moved over to the provost office as the associate provost, I became dean and interim dean in 2021, and then full-time 22 until now.
Great. So I know as a child you said you didn't really think about ever going this route. So when you were a child, what did you think you were going to do when you got older? Did you ever have like a dream job?
Yeah, I was tall early and I could throw hard. I was going to be a Major League Baseball pitcher. Is what I was going to do. But cool. I didn't grow after 8th grade, and all of a sudden there's people throw 80 miles an hour. There's a dime a dozen. That doesn't, so that wasn't going any farther on that. I was always good in school. Never really thought one way or the other. It was just not something. your junior year when you take the PSAT and your ACT, my scores, and that was the first time a counselor said, you should be an engineer. And I said, sure. And I didn't know what an engineer was. My dad wasn't very fond of them because he worked with engineers where he was at, and he wasn't. But so I just followed what people told me in terms of, so I basically followed a skill set. I was good at something and says, yes, that's what I'll do, and kind of stayed in that one lane for 9 years. And that's part of my personality. I'm not going to try a lot of different things. I can get into one thing and get really good at that.
Yeah. So speaking of getting into things, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do when you're not at work or you're not at ASU?
Well, they're not varied. I don't have a lot.
Okay, that's okay.
But I'm a golfer.
Oh.
That takes a lot of time.
Yes.
And I did not grow up playing golf. That wasn't something that it was part of my world. That was not something at all that I did. But when I got into grad school, I started hitting the golf ball. As a baseball player, I could hit the ball. And then my phone is ringing. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Can you guys hear it? I'm just going to keep talking.
We're good.
Okay,
You're good.
it's buzzing, but
No, you're fine.
I'm a golfer. I got hooked in grad school, and I continue to play. And I turned 57 this year. So when I turned 55, I got to play in tournaments as a senior. In the older, I'm no longer competing against the younger 20, 30 that can knock in a mile. So when you turn 55, I'm competing with people between 55 and 69, and all of a sudden I can hit it far again, just because who I'm playing against.
But then they would be the more experienced.
Oh, absolutely.
So
that's right. There's all kinds of things they got against me. But I'm the club champion my last 2 years where I play golf, so that's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm back-to-back champions.
And you didn't grow up with golf, so
no, that wasn't.
So how did you get into it? Did somebody take you to play?
I had a buddy who took me one time when we were done with high school, took me to a driving range, and if you're done anything in golf, you just got to hit one really good shot, and you're hooked. You see how far it goes and how good it feels, and say, hey, I can do this. And so, little by little, that's and you can play it forever. My daughters are both very good golfers. They're better than me. So when we're together, when we got the Tigers together, we're a pretty strong team.
The Tigers like Tiger Woods. That might be coincidence.
Right. Now, as soon as you say that, I'm just telling you, I'm constantly disappointing people on the golf course. When I travel and we got, maybe the Smith threesome and the Tiger single, and they announce your name to show up to the first hole, and they hear Tiger, and they turn, and it's just me, right? So, I'm used to disappointing people. That's a heavy name.
Oh,
but,
my gosh. That is so funny.
Yeah. Anyway, that's.
I'm not gonna lie. I have never been able to get golf. I'm more of I'll drive the golf cart for my husband around. That's my job. And even I can't even do that well. So
golf's hard. It is.
It
is amazing
hard.
when I watch people trying to learn it for the first time. It's really hard to try to hit a ball in the air when it's sitting on the ground.
For sure.
It's just hard to do.
So how do you balance that work-life balance, like where you can make sure that you're giving 110%, as dean, but at the same time, being husband, being father, being friend, like how do you balance that? And do you have like a self-care routine that you do, or any way you manage stress? Because we would all love to know.
I'm a morning person. I'm up, right at 5. I've got a routine that starts with, it's got all the basics of getting up early, drinking coffee, spending time with my Bible, doing a workout, and trying to get to work early. Now, I'll admit, I'll come 4 o'clock, I might be dragging, from that standpoint. But I get a lot of work done early in the day.
Yes.
So I am a big fan of getting up early and doing that even on weekends. That's my routine.
Even on weekends.
That's something I don't stay up late. Don't call me past 8 o'clock. I'm probably in bed. So that's been important. That's been real important on everything that I've done as I take on more tasks. None of that goes away. That's just as important as anything. I practice a lot, so I don't play a lot. There's a lot of people who go to the golf course and play. I can go there and spend 10, 15 minutes and go chip or putt or hit a golf ball, and that's enough for me.
Okay.
I do have a regular group that I play with on Saturday mornings. I don't play Sunday as much. I might go practice in the afternoon, but that's enough right now for me. There will be a point in the next several years I'll be retired, and I know I can play more golf as long as I stay fairly healthy and can still swing a club.
That's exciting. I've been trying to incorporate this new waking up at 5 because I read like between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. is the most productive hours of the day.
It's very quiet.
It is very quiet. And I'm not going to lie to you. I struggle to get up at 5. And I know I'm not in bed by 8, though. So that could be why.
No, that right.
You got to get to bed earlier.
Yeah, I don't have a lack of sleep. I get plenty of sleep.
Good. I'm so jealous.
I have to leave. I have to go to sleep. I have to go to bed early.
And I think with all the hustle and the bustle of the day, sometimes it's hard for me to wind down. I mean, eventually I think if I put myself on a schedule, but I'm the same way. I'm like, I have to I push myself. I got to get up at 5, and then it's like, drink my coffee, go spend time. I have my coffee with Jesus. I have to go spend time, in my prayer shed. And then I don't work out, though, as you can tell. The camera adds a few pounds, though, so don't judge me.
Well, don't. No one ever. I'm always surprising people when they find out. Oh, really? Because I don't demonstrate. But for me, it's all old man workouts. I pick a workout that I know that I'm going to be able to do forever. So I'm not trying to do personal. I'm just trying. I'm playing for the tie. I'm not trying to win anymore. I'm just trying to play for the tie.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
everything I do is just something. All right, I checked the box. I got that done.
I got that done.
Occasionally break a little sweat.
Yeah. I'm trying to get there. I think my idea of getting some kind of physical activity is like taking a walk. Well,
absolutely.
Lately it's been like the weather has been really nice. So this week I have made it a point to walk every day. It's so nice.
Yep.
And when we can't, we can utilize the gym. Remember, our gym membership is included in your tuition. So just FYI.
That's very good. I
I
see some of our faculty there. They're there regularly. So that's right.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of try to do. So I get it, but I've been struggling to try to get up. And it's so funny you talked about your morning routine because I was going to ask you about it. So, but, okay, so what's some of your favorite things to do that make you smile?
My daughters don't live here. So anytime I get a chance to speak or see them, that's going to make me smile. It's going to make me tear up. I'm going to tear up right here in front of you. But yeah, my youngest is a NICU nurse in Temple, Texas.
Oh, wow.
So she's 3 hours away, and she calls all the time to talk to my wife, which is great.
Yes.
And I don't say she calls too much, but she does call a lot. And then with the oldest one getting back, so that's clearly going to be make me smile.
Yeah, for sure.
I still teach. I'm a dean. I think it's for me in my role as the business dean, I want the students to know where the dean's office is.
Yes.
So I still want to teach. I teach a sophomore level stats class, hard class, not an easy class. It's math. I think that I do a pretty decent job of teaching where students can fail but don't feel like they have to quit. Okay. So it's that low risk assessments, getting them aware that, hey, this is hard, but just because you did poorly on that one doesn't mean you're doing that. So I leave class almost every time with a smile on face because I love it.
Aww.
I like doing that. When students ask questions in class, that's like the greatest thing ever. It's just not you talking. They're actually asking good questions. Yeah. So that's the teaching side, family side. Yeah, those would be things that make me smile.
Sometimes, okay, so just on this side of the table, as a student, sometimes it's intimidating whenever the professor's speaking and you're thinking to yourself, like, nobody's,
right,
asking questions. So, but once that first student breaks that silence, everybody really has a question.
That's right.
So, and I love the classrooms where I was in where there was actually engagement and it didn't feel, I know some of my professors have told me, like, why do y'all just stand up here and look at me?
Yeah. Cynthia, that is so great that you brought that up. That's what anytime I get a student just a hint that they've got an answer, I'm going to brag on them and just say, oh my goodness, that is the greatest thing, because you want them to do that. And then you're right. It is, sometimes it takes one and the rest they'll have those same questions, or they'll come to me after class and they'll say, I have a question. I say, oh, you should have asked that during class because everyone else had it. And then I say, next class, ask that.
Yes.
So they already have the answer. They've already scripted it, and they ask, and they're asking because I asked them, and they know that that's going to edify the rest of the students, and that can get people going as well.
Yes, for sure. Or nobody wants to ask the question in the classroom, but we'll be real quick to email the professor at the end.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's I'm certainly going to respond, but when I get a chance to have them do that in the classroom, it helps. And it is intimidating. I wasn't a student who necessarily asked a lot of questions. I'm a big fan of sitting in the front of the room. When I go to church, I want to sit in the front. I want my preacher preaching right to me. So
like they're just there for you, eyes locked in.
It tell you, it makes you uncomfortable, but that's what I need to be. That's where I need to be.
You know what is so funny about that is that in the classroom, I want to sit in the front row. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, at church, I want to sit. I mean, I'm not sitting in the back, but I'm not sitting in the front either.
No,
I'm one of the middle people.
There's times when
that is so funny.
You can look somewhere else, preacher. You don't have to keep looking over on me.
Oh my goodness, you're so funny. Okay, so what is your definition of success?
For me, it's combining things I'm really good at and what I love, and that's probably for a lot of people. But if I was doing something that might have been useful, but I don't know if that would be successful. Mm-hmm. So far, I've never had a job where I couldn't lean in on things that I had a skill set in.
For sure.
There will be a job where all of a sudden I don't have a skill set, and I don't know if that's going to be as successful. But so success for me personally is when I align things that that are important or that I'm good at with things that I love doing. Real stupid example of that. I use Excel and everything, Microsoft Excel. And I can use it to teach. I can use it for my dean job. I can do it as a researcher. And I love it. I love Excel. And
I've read that about you. You're an expert in
Excel.
Nuts.
It's nuts. The president called me the king and queen of Excel, which I liked it for a second. Then I says, I don't know what you're trying to say. And he modified it and he said Excel Ninja, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds way better.
So we'll go with that one.
Oh my gosh.
But I when I can use that and because I like it and be able to help people solve problems, there's a satisfaction with that.
Yes.
For my students, it's you're looking at your students and you can see the question mark above their head.
Yes.
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what you're talking about yet. They don't know what they want to do. And when you can turn that question mark into an exclamation point, that's when you've done it. All of a sudden they have figured out, oh, this is cool. They're excited about it. And you're turning that no direction or question mark into excitement and passion. That's a measure of success. That I'll take that with me. That's that teaching high that we get.
Yes, for sure. My next question for you is, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I don't think about that, Cynthia. I don't know if I think about.
How do you want people to think of you?
Yeah, I probably haven't thought about it, but I think I'm fairly transparent. Mm-hmm. I think people should be able. I'm not a very deep person. I think within 15, 20 minutes, you ought to have a sense of who I am, and I think there's probably a consistency, an expectation of that. So I would think that would be something important from a legacy standpoint. That hey, this guy doesn't put on and. You know what he's saying or you know what he's thinking because he's going to tell you.
Yes.
I think within the business college, if we have any issues, we're going to talk about them pretty fast. We're not going to let things malign and kind of sit there. We'll address it pretty fast. So
Yes.
that would probably. I know a lot of people that work hard.
Yes.
I would like to say I'm a hard worker, but compared to people I know, I don't know if I can say that. There are people out there that work extremely hard. I work okay, but I know there's people that outwork me. So as much as I would like to say, hey, he was a hard worker, I know there are people out there that worked a lot harder than me. So I'm a little uncomfortable saying that would be a legacy, just because I've been around
Or just
people.
really humble.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You're right. You're right.
I mean, figuring that you wake up at 5 a.m. and you be working on it, I feel like you could just be being really humble right now. But as far as the direction for the business college, what is your vision, or what is the direction for the?
Well, it aligns with Angelo State's vision. I mean, when the president set our values and set our mission and vision, we want to be a premier school, and we're not trying to be an R1, but we want to increase our rigor. We want to increase our research, our contribution to society. I think that is an Angelo State where we're aiming higher.
For sure.
The College of Business is exactly the same thing. I want the College of Business. I want students to come here and not think of us as a 2-year stepping stone to go to Tech or UT or an A&M. I want to keep those students. And to do that, we've got to have a measure of quality, and that's accreditation is part of that, what we offer in the classroom, that our students can compete. So that is my goal. That is what I want to do. I want our students to be just as good as any student in Texas. If they want to move somewhere up and down I-35, they can compete with any university there, and I know they are. They
Yes.
are. But everywhere we can get, I want us to focus on those type of things.
Yes.
More rigor, higher quality, never lose the fact that we're starting with students that might be easily discouraged. So let's design systems that let them fail early on and get better. But at the tail end, when they graduate, they've got a strong degree from us, and they're ready to go out there and find a job.
For sure. So, this is Ram Radio, so I'm going to ask you, what are you listening to nowadays? What kind of music do you like? You have a favorite artist, song?
I'm a Marcus King fan.
Yeah.
So I have a guitar. I play guitar, but I'm not a guitarist. I know people that are really good, but I've got one right beside my chair, and I'll pick it up. So I'm always, so I'm a kind of a bluesy, classic rock type person. I'm
Awesome.
new songs now. I wouldn't know anything,
Yeah.
but I grew up on traditional country, so I'm a Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson type is what I grew up listening to.
I love
so
it.
I still like that, yeah, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of music out there that I don't know and I probably don't like, but there's a group in there that I think. But Marcus King, he's a fairly new guy, got a great sound.
Yes. So, our show is coming to an end, unfortunately, but do you have anything you want to leave the viewers, anything else that you'd like to say before we go ahead and wrap up today?
Well, I'll put a plug in for the Norris-Vincent College of Business. We are hiring a new endowed chair in entrepreneurship. There's been a need, a want from the community of having an entrepreneurship program at Angelo State. We've had a class. We haven't had a champion. Scott Wisniewski has provided us $1 million endowment. So we've got a brand new line that's been approved, and we're going to hire someone who's going to establish an entrepreneurship program, and that's curriculum, that's initiatives on campus, that's going to be initiatives in San Angelo. It's exciting, and we're going to have someone who's going to wow people, and so absolutely, that's be on the lookout for that starting in the fall.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank you. You have been an amazing guest and interviewer.
This is my first time. I enjoyed it.
I loved having you. I'm going to be honest with you. Even as the host, I was a little apprehensive because I'm like, I'm going to be interviewing a dean today. But you are very kind, humble, down to earth.
There we go.
And it was really good getting to get to know you on a more personal level. And hopefully some of our student body's watching and you'll be able to see Dean
Absolutely.
Tiger out there and know that He's just a man that loves to play golf. And
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
get up early and drink
I play
his coffee.
fast. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, but thank you again so much. Again, guys, this was Faculty Spotlight. I'm your host, Cynthia Murillo. Next week, I won't give it away. Tune in next week for our guest. It's going to be a surprise. So thank you all so much. Thank you again, Dean.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.